Good morning, this is Bonsai Anonymous, and 53 degrees. So I got my jammies. I don't know if you can see these, but there's my cat socks. So, you know, how pretty good, I mean, I think. Okay, so what I have here is my pot that I made yesterday, and it's coming off from the plastic a little, but not very much. So I'm going to try something here that I see them do all the time. I'm going to try to pour some hot water on this. Let's see what happens. It is hot. Theoretically, what will happen here is that it will come loose from this. So far, it's not really coming loose very much, is it? Well, I'm just going to futz with it here. Something. I'm going to make this hole bigger. Like that. It's not really very dry, and so I think that's part of the problem. So, rather than... Okay. Woohoo! Okay. So evidently, what happens is that the hot water makes the plastic, or whatever, expand, and underneath it is the cold concrete, so it comes out from it. So take a look at that, and see it's pretty thick down here, maybe almost an inch there, but up on the edges it's thin. So I really like that. And if the concrete that you, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, if the concrete that you use to make this, make it thick, in other words, it's more like clay, modeling clay, than it is loose concrete. So if it's thick, you can bring it up the walls. Now I see cracks here. So what that tells me is that I'm going to have to be careful with this. These cracks, I could take my finger and just push those right over. But after a day or two more, I think that it will solidify. So we have to find a place to put this where nobody's going to knock it off. So for the moment, I don't think I'm going to be working on any plants on this turntable today. So I'm just going to set you back here, like that. Put this away. Now, taking a look at my desk here, here's my very fragile new pot. Here is the start of my next Japanese lantern. And let me explain how that works. This is going to be glued on here too, like this. Oof. Gong time. We have a gong. We have a neighbor with a gong. You know? Everybody needs one of those. I mean, seriously, you do. I don't know why they have it. I like them. I like my neighbor five. I just don't understand it. Understand what's going on over there. Okay, so turn this around here. Maybe I can do it without breaking my pot. Okay, so this isn't glued on now. The bottom part is glued on, and with 6,000. This is what I used to do that with, 6,000. And the last one I made, I also did one other thing, which I may do with this one. What you can do with concrete, believe it or not, powdered concrete, is put it in. Well, am I actually seeing what I'm doing here? Yeah, fine. What you do is you put concrete, powdered concrete, in a gap like this. There's glue there already, okay? There's glue. But put powdered concrete in it, and then very carefully put some super glue on the concrete. And that really worked well on the other one that I did. And I've actually been able to move that one around a little bit. Oh, what happened to my hand here? Anyway, plenty of dirt. So this can't be on here right now because in the center of it, which, yeah, close enough. In the center of it is going to be a hole drilled, and one of these is going to be on here. It's the top of an old solar lamp. And what it does is it goes through this hole, sends the light down in here, and then sometimes I put something down there to kind of reflect it, maybe something like that. I have to drill a hole for that too, and of course I didn't. So maybe the better thing to do would be to just saw this off and do it. I don't know, but I'd like this to be shinier than it is. Obviously it's silver underneath, silver colored, but it's got this gold paint, and I believe I painted it with that, unfortunately. Okay, so this can come down. It's going to be drilled today. I have, what do I have? I have masonry bits for my drill. And for a long time I wanted to have Japanese lanterns in my little garden back there. And I'm watching YouTube videos of people who are very talented casting concrete into shapes, you know, like pagodas and all that. And they're so cool, but that's not going to happen for me. Casting concrete, I mean, this is the edge of what I can do, the very edge of it. And this is going to be, by the way, probably I'm going to fill, once it solidifies, I'll probably fill the holes with some color. I did it with gold on another pot, and it really was nice. Right, that little piece right there, comes right off. Because it's not solid. I mean, just take a look at the difference between those two. I mean, these are a couple days old, and they're still not really solid, but I can plant them in, I think. This one, no way. You know, it's going to be a while. So while I'm sitting here, let me just tell you about the rest. I got this stuff yesterday. For those of you who are bonsaiers, somewhere I read that this stuff is a good thing to do when your plant is not doing well. Okay? It says coco coir safe. I have no idea what that means. I don't know what that means. That's stuck on there too. So evidently there's something about coco coir. I'm going to research that. But this stuff is good from what everyone is saying. Especially designed for use with all hydroponic growing media, including coco coir, as well as continuous liquid feed growing systems, aeroponics, drip irrigation, and so forth. But the thing that surprised me the most about this when I bought it and looked at it was this number right here. I don't know if you can see that. 100. Those are the three, PNK, those are the three numbers that you see for percentages of different components in the fertilizer. And if you look on the side, liquid nitrogen, total nitrogen, sorry, 1%, calcium 1, magnesium 0.5, and iron 0.3. So I don't see any potassium in here, but, oh, there isn't any, 0, 0. So all there is in here is nitrogen, 1%. The calcium is not in this number, neither are magnesium or iron. I think the iron might be, that might be the crucial ingredient. A lot of people are telling me that iron helps plants use chlorophyll better. So maybe that 0.3% will do it. But this was expensive. I haven't even looked at it. And look at that. I have no idea what that is, but it's 100. I'm going to script that in there because it's probably something that's, yeah, it's kind of gross actually. But I bought it, and why? Because I have plants that are sometimes don't do very well. So anyway, I just got to look at this pot again. This is a real winner. That pot right there is gonna, if I can make 10 like that, or sort of like that, I'm gonna have something. this pot is a perfect size for a lot of things. And now that I know that all I need to do to get the concrete out is put some hot water from the microwave on it, this is going to be, I'm going to save that one. That's one I'm really happy about. Okay, before I stand up, which is, that's always an event, let me show you this. I found, when I got this pot, that one I just showed you, it was full of these pieces of pavers. And why are there pieces of pavers? Because we made a little track. Let me explain it correctly. We bought something called I think it's called a French drain. I could be wrong, but what it is an underground system of a channel where water can pass from one place to another. This backyard, you can't really see it in the camera, but that's okay. The pool level is higher than the deck level, and that is a disaster. And I didn't realize that when I bought the house, that wasn't something I wanted. So what would happen would be, we get big rains here. I mean, we've had a 22-inch rain, and I'm not kidding. That was a disaster. But a 1 or 2 inch rain is bad enough. And what had happened was this whole back area would just flood. And it not only would flood, but it would actually go into the house because the sliding glass door is right there. So I bit on an ad that passed on the internet by one of the things I was looking at for a French drain, and that could be the wrong term, but it's some sort of thing that takes water from one place to another when there's really not a way to do it. So what they do is they dig a big hole in the yard. Geez, this hole must have been 4 by 5 feet or something like that, and quite deep, and fill it with something that some sort of thing that will let water through it. Okay, this is going to be the tank where the water goes. And then they had to take the pavers up and put a little groove in the pavers because underneath the pavers where the water would normally be is this channel made of some sort of substance, which I don't know what it is, but supposedly doesn't clog. And it hasn't clogged yet. We haven't had any water up to the patio since that time. That's been 5 years ago now. And what I did in the gap, I'm trying to explain these things. These are some of the pieces that came out of the gap. And we kept them because I thought at one point that I was going to, what's the word? I thought that at one point I was going to put a string of lights in that gap that would go on at night and be kind of cute. So, and I did that. It didn't work very well. I got a new way to do it now, and that worked better. So anyway, why am I talking about a French drain? Good question. Oh yeah, these things. These are the pieces of the pavers that were cut out. And a further postscript to that is that we told the guys that were coming to do this, that underneath these pavers was Chattahoochee. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a conglomerate of concrete and little stones, and they used to use it for decks. And the whole deck around the pool and this area right here is Chattahoochee underneath the pavers. So when we came, the Chattahoochee was in terrible condition. This is 1991, and as part of the deal for the house, we had this whole area paved with pavers, and it looks so good. The pavers are all dirty and, kind of coming loose, and spots are over by number 2 over there. I see a spot where the whole pavement is kind of sinking. So I don't know. This is a long time ago, 1991 and 92. So it's done pretty well. But I collected these. In the bottom is a bigger one. Maybe you can see that. These are just stacked on here right now. But they'll be glued on. And that's going to be another one of my funky pots right there. And it's going to be facing this way. And I look in here and I don't see a drain hole, of course, but all around here in between the pavers, which I'm not going to fill that gap up, are holes. So this at some point would be another pot. That's the only reason I'm showing to you. It's not going to be as cool as this one in many ways, or those back there, but I'm not throwing it out. Okay, so this will be featured in another future eccentric bonsai video, of which there are many, going to be many. Hi, number two. They're looking at me like they think I ought to be giving them something. And he knows I'm talking to him. He raised his head. Yeah, number two, you're such a good boy. Number two is the size of a turkey, and that's big for a muscadine. Usually not that big. Is that true? Yeah, usually not. And mom is much smaller. Really cute. Okay, so one thing you're gonna, if you watch any of my videos, and I don't know actually if anyone does, we get a few views, but a lot of duck stuff in there because we have ducks. We have two that live outside during the day. Number two is one of them. He's such a good boy. His feet are huge. You're a good boy, though, number two. Now we clip their wings so they don't fly away, and that's why we have to put them in at night and kind of watch them a little bit during the day. Don't really have any daytime predators, except for owls and an occasional hawk. I think I've had a couple of ducks killed by owls out here, and I don't know how it happened because the owls aren't really out in the day as far as I can see mostly. So anyway, so I try to watch them a little bit and see what happens. Okay, so what's happening the rest of the day? Probably drill the hole in the lamp. Yesterday I tried to make a big pot using a method of sand, a shape of sand, just sand, like a sand sculpture, and then you very carefully put concrete on it. And the one that I did yesterday was a disaster, and you could see it in the videos. There's one little point that I didn't take care of very well, and that is that the sand has to be moist. If you make sand sculptures out of dry sand, you got nothing. And I thought it was a little moist. It felt that way to my hands, but no. So after that discouragement, I'm so glad that this one worked out okay. And some of you may be looking at it and saying, "Is that he thinks that's okay?" Well, I do. As I've said many times, I can't afford to buy really nice bonsai pots. So, and I need some. I need pots. So I do it various ways. You know, this could be a pot. If I put a back on it and a side on it, it could be a huge, heavy pot. Way too heavy to move. This is the second one. I think two will do in my garden. One at each end. They're very dim at night, but they do make a little light. Not enough really to see by, but enough to see it. In other words, to see where it is. And I'm very happy about that. To me, this is a victory. Even buying the concrete to make one of those that I see on the internet would be more expensive than this was. These are only $1.50 each, these blocks. And the fact that they're broken, a lot of broken edges and stuff, I think is maybe part of their appeal. Almost every one has something broken on it. A corner, and that just makes it look more, makes it look older to me, which is good, I think. All right, let's see what else I want to say before I stand up. I am going to go over and lift up, well, no, that's not true. I was going to say I'm going to lift up the plastic box that has the sand in it that I hope is going to work better today. I believe I overdid it. I put the sand that I have in water and then scooped it out by the handful and put it in this plastic thing. And so what I ended up with is not just damp sand, I ended up with mud. And it took me a long time to put more dirt in and drain the water out, and I'm ready today for it to fail again. Because it could. Okay, so move these out a little bit. That just means that it will be a little bigger at the top. Now, how are these going to be attached? Well, it's easy. Just more of that 6,000. It's not a fast, what's the word, grabbing glue. In other words, you can't put one on this and then 5 minutes later lift it up. It won't, it's not that kind. It's not quick grab or whatever they call it. But overnight, it does the job. Can you see that I'm actually moving this? And this is heavy stuff. There'll be one more on here glued, and it'll hold up together fine. The only danger is carrying it back there. You know, if the glue is not quite as strong as I think it is, and this will just all fall apart. I could put it back together, really. I mean, I could actually do concrete under there if I wanted to. Okay, and this, finish this little video with my friend here. This is one of my favorite tools. It is a cheap Japanese bamboo rake. It's just made out of a piece of bamboo. I don't know how they curve it. Maybe with water, I don't know. And then this little thing on the end, and use it to do, it's a very delicate way to get the roots out. And I can move it back a little bit like that if I want, which isn't such a bad idea. And there's a little more rake happening there and a little less of this. So it's a great tool. I left it out by mistake, and my bonsai tools are way in the back of my box here, so I'm not going to put it away right now. So now I have these two pots are ready to go. Really, they are. This one will be in 2 or 3 days. I'm just not going to mess with it because it's so thin. And I was looking at some pots yesterday where they're as thin as maybe 5 sheets of paper put together at the top. So even touching, I mean, I could easily just put my finger right through this. It's cracked right there. But I'm hopeful that it won't actually crack. And what I might do at some point, maybe, just go around in here and just coat it another time with some concrete. But I don't think I'll do that. This came out of the pot really nicely without anything falling off of it. Okay, so that is it for this first video. I'm going to do a shout out to this chocolate flavored Coffee Mate. I think it's Coffee Mate. It basically changes coffee into hot chocolate, that's a winner as far as I'm concerned. It's not even, it might be 60 degrees out here right now. And for those of you that are looking out your windows at snowdrifts, that sounds like heaven, I bet. But would have to me when I lived in Montana. But here it's really cold. I mean, it was down in the low 50s last night. And cold stuff. One more endorsement. I love endorsing things just in case someone sees it and decides to send me some money. This is I want to say 12 ounce, is that right? Yeah. This is a 12 ounce cup made by the company that's called MIIR. And this company makes promotional merch, I guess, or giveaways. Evidently, there's a company named Heartland, and they make cups. It's a global payments company. Maybe like PayPal or something. I have no idea. I'm not really endorsing them because I don't know who they are. I'm endorsing the cup. So any one of these cups that you get, 12 ounce ones, they have nice lids. This keeps stuff hotter longer than any other cup I have. I mean, there's absolutely no heat coming through, and it's still nice and warm. So I'm endorsing the MIIR 12 ounce cup. I have another one that's smaller, which is not quite as good, but it's still okay. And there are bigger ones, which I haven't bought. I got about 6 of these from different promotions. So evidently the people are given these as part of a something event, and they turn around and put them on eBay, which is fine. You know, who needs more cups? But I needed some of each. I got about 6 of them, and they are my favorite by far now. Okay, well, I think that's good enough for right now, and I'm going to go around and see if I can make some concrete and get ready to do this reveal, as they say, when I lift that thing up off the sand that has been on there all night. And I'm actually prepared for the opposite thing to happen. The other day, it was too dry, and so the sand just collapsed. I'm prepared for it to be too wet today, so it'll collapse just like a bucket of mud. That's what I'm prepared for. What I hope happened is that some of the water drained down through and out, and I don't know if that's true. But you know, the thing about all of this is that if it doesn't work, what have I got? I got a pile of wet sand. You know, who cares? I can do it as many times as I want to. I think that's good enough for right now. So we will be back a little later, either with a happy face or a sad face when we try to get that top off the sand. All right, bonsai on this side.